had never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? I hope you've had a very good day today. It's been, a bit funny weather-wise around here, but been rather interesting news-wise. And, of course, a very solemn day for Australians. Today is Vietnam Veterans Day, Remembrance Day. It's also the day we remember the Battle of Long Tan. And what a battle that was, where Australians were pinned down in a rubber plantation, saved by Kiwi artillery, I think is about the best way of describing it. So, a great day to celebrate and remember those that fought for us, that came back here and suffered in so many ways, due mainly, in fact, to the government of the day refusing to acknowledge their service in any particular way, and for the leftards of the day to gain control of the narrative, where some of these brave men who came back from Vietnam were spat on in the streets. They were told not to wear their uniforms in public for fear of being bashed or otherwise humiliated. It was a disgusting time in Australia's history, perpetrated by government on our, and senior military management, on our fighting men and women who went to Vietnam. Thank you for your service, each and every one of you, and to those serving today and who've served in between. Maybe you didn't, although there's been an awful lot of combat in the years in between. So you could have served anywhere from Somalia, probably other places, Rwanda, all the way through to current day. So thank you to everybody who is currently serving, and lest we forget on a day like today. And it's days like today where we remember our veterans. This one in particular, Keith Payne VC. Keith gained his VC in Vietnam. I've had the pleasure of meeting Keith on a couple of occasions and having a chat with him. Lovely man. He hasn't suffered the inglorious chasing that and prosecution, malicious prosecution, that Ben Robert Smith is currently facing. But he is not protected. The OSI, should they decide under the current laws to go back and have a look at Vietnam era issues and decide that all of a sudden they became war crimes, poor old Keith could also find himself in clink wondering just what the hell is going on with the world. Thankfully, that hasn't happened to him, and I suspect that's not going to happen. But today is a day where we remember the brave men and women who fought for us in Vietnam and who came back and have been very differently affected by it in many, many ways. Some of you know, many of you may not. My biological father, I'm adopted, but my biological father I had the pleasure of meeting, and he served in Vietnam. He was a conscript. His name came out of a barrel, and he was in 6RAR, in fact, the first group of 6RAR Nashos who went into Vietnam in 1967. Came back a very, very changed man, changed him for the rest of his life. He's passed now, but it made a huge impact on his life, and not just what happened over there, but also what happened on their return. And I've had the great honor to speak with many, many Vietnam veterans over the years, some who served with my biological father, but I've spoken with many, many others who've served right across the era of the Vietnam War. In my time driving limos, I did an awful lot of DVA work, and had the great pleasure of sitting with these brave men on more than one occasion. So your service now, I think, is being recognized fully and appropriately, but it is a crime that you had to wait so long for that recognition. Absolute crime. But today, we stand remembering those lost in Vietnam, and particularly the Battle of Long Tan, where we had some of the bravest men in our military under an overwhelming force attacking them. And they survived simply because I believe the Kiwis, the Kiwi artillery guys, were bloody good. Bloody good. Danger close missions are always very difficult, but lobbing 155 millimeter howitzer shells into a grid area right beside the Australians and expecting everyone to land in that gridded area without hitting an Australian is probably a big ask, but they managed to achieve it. An unbelievable effort. So hats off to the Kiwis as well. They are magnificent human beings, and they have, well, we have a lot to thank them for. And if you listen to Anthony Albo Sleazy, the only thing we really have to worry about going forward is whether or not Albo decides he wants to take over New Zealand, as he's said we are currently able to do in our constitution. Really? I mean, the guy is an absolute monumental twat, if you ask me, but that's a whole other story. All right, let's move on tonight, shall we? Now, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. You may remember a little while ago, we had look, before I get into that, I've had some people talk to me last night about the breakdown of the video that I put forward, and there was some mention of the portal, some mention of why didn't I play the video bits over and over. That's because they were edited together very, very quickly, and to just keep playing that same bit over so you could catch the pieces seemed a bit stupid. However, I didn't have to wait long. Something else was put out today, and it's just about the portal. So I figure we'll kick the show off with that and get this out of the way. Get a load of this, will you?
Well, it's been a good show, but the best is yet to come. Well, enjoy the show.
Well, enjoy the show.
Well, enjoy the show.
Well, enjoy the show. Well, enjoy the show. Well, enjoy the show. The thing is, come on, man. America could be described in one word. I was in the foothill of the Himalayas.
Well, enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show. Take from that what you will, folks. Enjoy the show indeed. All right, let's push on, shall we? Some months ago, I showed you a video from, well, Ireland. It was portrayed as coming from Ireland. And it was essentially a relaunch of the Irish Republican Army, the IRA. They were calling themselves the new IRA. And then they had a bit of a name change to something else IRA. And then there was a different name change again to a different kind of branded IRA. Well, it turns out, I'll refresh you a little bit, but this time, rather than getting the show banned like I did last time for playing this bit of video, I've made a couple of crops and edits in it. So hopefully we'll be able to stay up. So here's just a bit of a quick refresher of what was said.
The level of disrespect shown to the people who put you in the power, This cannot be ignored any longer. We are proud men of Ireland. We are patriots. Your policies and decision-making in regards to flooding our communities with undocumented military-aged men is not acceptable. We will not sit back any longer and watch our culture and religion destroyed by the people we put in power. Also, the sexual indoctrination of our children in schools has not went unnoticed either.
All right. That was a warning that they put out. I don't think I cropped that bottom left-hand corner out very well. The thing is, they've been making a few more noises, and a new round of rumours has apparently reached, well, Scotland, at least that far, that very shortly they can expect something akin to civil war starting.
It's a major issue in Ireland because the politicians are entrenched financially in this, and of course...
I'm going to start that again, and I'll play you the grab I meant to play you. Try this instead.
And the Irish Rangers will tell you, and they were exceptional fighting force, by the way, they'll tell you that the IRA were not just formidable, they're almost unbeatable. Now, they were organised, they had their military precision, they had their covert intelligence, and they dealt with things swiftly. Now, I know this might not come as a shock, but in the next couple of weeks, I think you'll find out that the real IRA will make some announcements. They will not allow any of the new fractions of the IRA that have come out. It's the old school. The old school will take control, and they will give an ultimatum, not to politicians, but to the illegal migrants who are in the country.
All right, so that warning to the illegal migrants in the country is very similar to, I guess, some of the warnings that have been put out to migrants right the way through Europe by various organisations. The problem being the IRA have form on the board. They are formidable, and as that video started out saying, the British Rangers, when they were fighting the IRA in Northern Ireland, during the problems, during the 80s particularly, 70s and 80s, knew them as a very, very formidable fighting force who were very, very, very capable. Now, this warning that has gone out to the government for allowing their country to be overrun by illegal immigrants, they're calling them, but the government is giving them some legitimacy. This was brought to a head a couple of months ago in June when one of those migrants, a Somali gentleman, decided he would try and cut the head off another Irish man in the streets, in a street, open street. Now, he was hacking away at this bloke's neck. This bloke didn't die, thankfully, but this triggered the re-standing up of the IRA. Now, that should make the government very, very, very worried, because the IRA will carry out and protect. This time it won't be a religious war. It will be a cultural war where the IRA will protect all Irish people. Doesn't matter whether you're Catholic or Protestant. It'll just matter that you're Christian. That's all it'll be. But there could be other things that go in with that.
Of, let's say, beatings, rapes, sexual assaults, and the cooking of dogs has been exponential. I was with a man from Galway this weekend, and he was telling me that he, his family, are all terrified of what's happening, even in their small city. And I asked him reasons why he was terrified. He said, well, look, there's nowhere we can go where they're not standing in a street corner. Drugs are everywhere. Beatings and sexual assaults. So much so that a 12-year-old girl was taken very recently in Galway and dealt with by them. He has a daughter, and he was a goddaughter. It's a very much a Catholic community. And christenings are happening all the time. And even at a christening, they were hanging around outside the church, waiting for their prey. Now that's Galway for you, but I know Dublin's even worse, and I'm sure it's the rest of the country. I get so many messages from people in Ireland, because we have a lot of affiliation with Scotland and Ireland, of course, and we feel the same pain that they're going through. but they're in a more advanced stage. They really are screwed. And it's now going to be time for civil war. And it's exactly what these guys are going to be doing. And can you blame them? The same as the military have said here, and from military, they will say civil war's coming here. This will be a major wake-up call for the authorities. And I can't say whether I agree with it or not, but illegal migration is wrong. And our women and children need protected. These guys will show them how it's done.
Yeah.
They will give them 24 hours to leave, on my understanding. So let's see what happens in the next few weeks. And then it will all go. Unfortunately, for us, I can't say anymore, I might get arrested. Just watch this space.
Watch this space indeed. So we've seen recently, and it's not that Tommy Robinson is out the front of this. There are others who are standing up in Europe, all over Europe, but the Irish in particular are standing up very strongly. And if the IRA are planning on moving in the next couple of weeks, it will be interesting to see exactly what they do. But it's rather ominous to hear that, by the sounds of it, these illegals will be given 24 hours notice to get out of Ireland, or get off the island, might be the best way of describing it. Now, will that mean that they will just be driven to the ferries and sent over to the UK? Or will both, I guess, the UK government in league with the Irish have to do something about getting them off and back to wherever they come from? But that does present the problem, and we have that same problem here, where money is influencing the decision. You see, the Australian Labor Party have sent Australia broke, and I would say that the Australian Liberal National Party have helped them do that. Successive governments, it doesn't matter what flavour, they have worked together to send us broke. Our universities can't teach without money, and they need all the best of this and the best of that. And I agree, they do need it. But they're not getting that funding from Australian students. They're getting that funding from students coming from overseas, particularly in Australia's case, India. Now, India have every right to get great education, although I always thought they got a pretty good education in India anyway. But now they're coming here to do their engineering, their hospitality and other degrees, mainly in transport and logistics, I think. Although I don't know that any of them are actually going to the classes they signed up to do those. They've just leapt into the transport and logistics side of things, whether that be Uber driving, Uber eating, or B-double truck driving. It is the money that they have brought in with them to the country, the money that changes hands, keeps the university's wheels turning and greased. And that is our major problem in Australia. I would single out a university, but there's no point in mentioning one. They're all involved at one level or another. And unfortunately, there is nobody in our corrupt education system, our corrupt immigration system, or our generally corrupt government as a whole, who is overseeing what these people do once they get off the bird with no propellers at the airport and come into this country, sign on the dotted line to do their university degree, and then go and get themselves a job doing anything else but going to university. It is unsustainable. The country can't go on with it. Can't go on with it. And therefore, we are standing up in various different ways. It's unfair, though, to label all our woes on one particular group, like the Indians. It's not their problem. It's not even the problem of the Africans that we are so quick to leap at because they're very good with machetes and very bad with the English language. It is the problem of the people we keep electing. So we could blame those people, but it's really ourselves. We bring this on ourselves. I'm with Darren Bergwerf on this. We aren't going to vote our way out of this stupidity. We're just going to stir the pot a little bit. But it will be fun watching it. And Darren is prepared to do a lot more than I am in the earlier part of it. I'm prepared to watch and see, and I would like to be proved wrong. I really would like to be proved wrong. I want One Nation to be the difference in this nation. I'm just not sure they can. And that could be for a variety of reasons, not the least of which will be the opposition coming from outside of that party. But I'm more concerned about what happens inside it once they get the power, if indeed they do get the power. Speaking of getting the power, in Victoria, where One Nation are leading the political race down there by the proverbial country mile with only 8 announced candidates. Now, I'm starting to get the idea that those candidates or potential candidates who have put themselves up over recent months to be One Nation candidates, like Trevor Andre, for instance, down in Ripon. I'm surmising, I haven't got any details, but I'm surmising some of them may have been advised that they are not the selected candidate for One Nation. But a lot of them have decided that they've enjoyed this. Well, when I say a lot, a few have decided they've enjoyed this period where they've got themselves out into the community and started pushing themselves forward as someone who wants to represent their community with heart and with conviction and without bias. And I think you're going to find there might be a few more independents registering for the election than was initially expected. I think many people in Victoria, and for that matter on a federal basis, I think, have been expecting a One Nation landslide. I don't think it's going to be that way. I would expect there might be a very strong independent package put together. And I would expect a lot of the ex-Liberal, ex-Labor, ex-Nationals to get some new epiphany delivered to them about how they can actually be useful, but not in the current party they're in. A lot of those people, I think, might step and go into the independent world as well. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But none of it will be confirmed by the sounds of it until the 4th of November. That's when the final registrations for the Victorian election close for candidacy. One Nation keeps saying they're going to announce all of their candidates earlier than that. In fact, they have been saying that they were going to announce the candidates. I was expecting them a week ago, and I think we gave them 2 weeks. That'd be last Friday. Still no real news on it, although there has been a whisper that those candidates will be announced at the Manu gathering, which is happening on the 29th of this month down in Manu in Victoria. It's a cricket ground in the middle of nowhere. Manu known for its silos rather than for its skyscrapers. There will be, from what I've been told, a marquee. Tickets to go to the event are $50. They're available at Farmers Fight Back. And meal will be, lamb or beef rolls. Don't know that there'll be a vegan option, to be honest. I would hope not. That's just wrong. No, maybe there'll be a vegan option. I mean, you can eat the grass. There's plenty of that around. There'll be some hay, lots of hay bales. They usually supply seating like that, so you can eat your seat. At any rate, that is the place where we've been told there might be an announcement, but it might only be an announcement for the candidate for that area, which I believe is Ripon, but it could be wrong. So let's wait and watch what happens there. Pauline has made an announcement today about her tobacco tax. And look, I don't know if you're a smoker or not. If you're not, you're probably of the opinion that the smokers deserve what they get. They should pay a fortune because they're such a drain on their health system. And yeah. Would you be surprised to learn that the smokers are not overrepresented in the healthcare system at all? In fact, vastly underrepresented when you compare it to the proportion of income they supply to it. It is, in fact, the smokers that supply most of the medical support for everybody else in the friggin' hospitals. And while you might get the odd one that comes up with lung cancer, there are plenty of people who don't smoke, haven't smoked, or smoked 50, 60, 70 years ago, all of a sudden getting lung cancer these days. Now, that isn't because they were a smoker and were a drain on the economy. And, of course, the government has fed into this bullshit by upping the excise on cigarettes consecutively. I think it goes up every quarter, and it goes up at a phenomenal rate. So I don't know what a packet of 20 costs if you were to go to a servo or a supermarket. I suspect somewhere around $50. The reason I don't know that is because I don't buy my cigarettes from there. I go and buy my cigarettes from an illegal tobacco seller, as I'm sure any of you who smoke do. Why? Well, because instead of paying somewhere between $40 and $50 for a packet of 20, I'll pay somewhere between 10 and 12, or maybe 15, or maybe 18. It sort of depends how many got busted at the border that week, I think. But you don't pay more than $18 a packet. And the government says, oh, no, there isn't a problem with organised crime. That's not the reason. It's not the tobacco excise. Well, I can tell you, you numpties, you've got fools like that Murray Watt leading the nation on the bird flu extravaganza they've put together. But on this point, you mob are just so far off the mark, it is bloody frightening. Bloody frightening. So it's time, I think, all of us need to stand up in our own truths. I was having a conversation today with somebody where a forceful argument was made that it doesn't really matter what we sitting here talk about, what you sitting at home agree with or disagree with. Nothing changes unless all of us actually act and get up and do something. And we're all a bit concerned, I think, about the numbers. How many people actually believe like we believe? And that was a spirited conversation I had today. Numbers were being thrown around like, oh, you know, we've got 15 million people this way, and I think we've swayed them. I thought, well, no, you haven't. You might have swayed 6 of the 15 million that you needed to sway, but it is still nowhere near enough to push past what we need. And those people might believe silently, a large percentage of them, and that is the problem. Many people like you and I stand up for what we believe in and speak openly. But those, and we all know them, there are those people who say, oh, look, I agree with you, but I just can't say it. My job, or this, that, that. They've always got an excuse why they can't stand up. This is the reason why we will never move forward, because these people who support us quietly in the background say, oh, yeah, you're great doing that. I really love what you're doing. But, they never turn up to help. They never lend their physical self to the argument because, well, they're a bit concerned. In fact, I had a conversation with a bloke who we were hoping was going to sponsor the show, not for anything remotely like a great deal of money. He's been a supporter for a very, very long time, very vocal supporter. And when I said, well, all right, let's try and help your business as well. Let me, I've got a group of people here who follow and watch the show. And if they see value in something, as they have in the past, they will go and buy it. Some people have had come on this show and shown a few things and had great success, with others going in and buying the product. I should have been on some sort of commission deal for that too, I suppose, but I never think of those things at the time. What we can do, though, is supply a very, very active, proactive audience who are interested in helping with the truth. What we need is more people. So we can talk to each other as much as we want. It's the ones that don't talk to us, or the ones who haven't really come out of their shell yet, even though they are seeing news on almost a nightly basis about how bad things are getting with, well, a variety of things, whether it be terrorism, anti-Semitism, or the war in Iran, the petrol crisis, the diesel crisis. My God, there are crises everywhere. And in the middle of it all, please fill out your census, because that's important. And it would be important for the people of Young. I wonder what the people of Young marked down in by way of religion in the 2021 census, because a new large mosque has been opened in Young, where today 1 in 10 residents are Muslim, and the population is growing exponentially. Did you put Christianity down in the census, did you? If not, expect a morgue. Expect a mosque somewhere near you somewhere soon, because that's exactly what's going on. And in fact, it's going on behind many people's backs already. These are some whistleblowing statements that are a little frightening for those people who believe the government is actually working to maybe calm our immigration down. They're not. There's a migrant camp that is to run for 10 years. It'll be a transitioning camp. It's in New South Wales. They will bring people into it quietly. And then from there, once they've been appropriately carded up and taught which Labor Party member to vote for in the area that they're going to be sent to live in, they'll go off and live very happy lives right up until the time where they wake up to the fact that the Labor Party are going to screw them over as well, I guess. I haven't heard, I've had some people ask me today, and I haven't heard whether or not they have found the perpetrator of the bashing of a One Nation, a 63-year-old woman, a One Nation volunteer at the Ekka. For those of you unfamiliar with what an Ekka is, the Ekka is the Brisbane show, if you like. This 63-year-old female One Nation volunteer was at the Ekka a couple of days ago, walking through the crowds, quite happily minding her own business, when she was set upon by a group of young Australians who decided that Pauline Hanson wasn't their flavour, and this old woman was fair game. Apparently, there was some physicality. I think she may have been allegedly spat on, and at some point it's alleged that she was thrown, pushed, or kicked to the ground and suffered an injury. She wound up having to go to hospital to be treated. I would guarantee you that if you were to steal a show bag, if you were to walk past a site anywhere on the Ekka grounds and steal something, if you were to try and get on a ride for free in Sideshow Alley, some of those rides, I believe, are $40 to ride on. Somebody, I don't know them, this is secondhand, unconfirmed, but somebody went into a shop that I go into frequently and know the bloke behind the counter, and he said somebody came in here yesterday and said that they'd spent $2,000 at the Ekka in a day. Now, you obviously got more money than brains, but what on earth, I said, could you spend $2,000 on at the Ekka? You'd need a semi-trailer to bring home the show bags. No, never bought a show bag. Just spent all that money inside Show Alley. $2,000. $40 a ride, I guess. It adds up pretty quickly. But my lordy me. I wonder how many Muslims go to the Ekka. Because there's a lot of animals at the Ekka. Dirty, unclean things, you know. Be interested. Because that's shows, those agricultural shows in general are Australian traditions. And yet in the bush these days, they are slowly being eroded. I don't know how many bush shows there are these days. I remember in the little town that I grew up in the Wimmera, Rapanya, we used to have a show once a year. It was a one-day show, and I remember the bouncing castle must have been about the first time Bouncing Castles ever came out to Australia. That'd be in the 70s. Was quite enamored with that. But it was a one-day show. I guarantee you there is no show in Rapanyup these days. There's not much else in Rapanyup these days, unfortunately. So many of those little events gone and been amalgamated into larger events around the area. Such a shame, because it was a great way of building community, which is something that we've always been behind around here. Something else we've always been behind is getting your super in a place that you can keep it, where you can look after it, where you can control it. But government has other plans for your super. Other plans include sending huge amounts of it overseas to America to be used on American projects. Now, a self-managed super fund, in my opinion, is the only way you can guarantee to keep your nest egg yours. Big super has big risks. And when you send, at the moment, it has super huge risks because of the volatility in the market. I would agree. Maybe over the years, there's been an opportunity for it to be very, very stable and a good earn for everybody. Could you have made better use of that money? Could you have controlled it more? Could you have received the benefit of the interest that it was bringing, not just a portion of the interest that it was bringing? Now, there is nothing left investing in Australia anymore. You're right, Vince, 100%. The big problem that we have at the moment, though, is Freedom Financial Solutions, along with, I'm imagining, a few other companies, dropped something, have been very successful, and many of you have taken up Freedom Financial Solutions self-managed super fund offer, which got you into it at a very, very reasonable rate. Now, I was quite surprised to find out that the laws pertaining to a financial advisor are very different to those of a chartered accountant or a practicing accountant. There are different grades of accountants. A CPA is, I think, a higher grade than just a normal accountant. But at any rate, they're affected differently. And at the moment, if you follow Freedom Financial Solutions, you'll see Cass has put up some videos of late explaining what ASIC and the ATO are doing to their self-managed super fund business at the moment. And it is my understanding, my belief, and my opinion only, that ASIC and the ATO are trying to use Freedom Financial Solutions to intimidate the rest of the accounting industry into not recommending self-managed super funds. Now, I'm no expert on the matter, and I can only go on what I've been led to believe as the truth. But if what I've been led to believe is the truth, then you would never go to a financial advisor to get advice on a self-managed super fund, because you could quite comfortably predict a mile out what that advice would be. And that would be to stay away from it. Oh, it's too dangerous. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. Oh, it costs a lot of money. Well, if you go through your financial advisor, yes, to create you a self-managed super fund, a financial advisor could charge you as much as $12,000. Why? When you know that by going to somewhere like FFS, it's, $2,500 or whatever it is these days. Why would a financial advisor, as opposed to an accountant, have such a price difference? The answer is surprisingly clear when you think of it this way. Your financial advisor advises you to keep your super in big super because your financial advisor gets a trail payment off that every year. So the more people he convinces to put their super into big super, the more payments he gets that contributes to his income, his bonus, at the end of the financial year. If you choose to do a self-managed super fund, obviously the accountant gets nothing out of you. So what they're doing is setting up your self-managed super fund and charging you what they would expect to lose out of your income, if you like, over the next 10 years or 12 years or maybe over the lifetime. And then they'll charge you that and set up your self-managed super fund, because I believe they think they're doing the right thing. They're getting their payment. They're just getting it in advance, and you get your self-managed super fund. But it's cost you exponentially more than it would if you went to an accountant who says, yep, we can do that for you. It'll cost this. Because they're not looking for the trail payment. They're not looking for the ongoing trail of money into their pocket. I guess some of them might be, but it's been my experience with Freedom Financial Solutions that isn't the case. So I just think that FFS are being treated very harshly at the moment by ASIC and by the ATO, and I think they're being treated in that manner because they are being used as an example to other accountants, not to encourage their clients to set up self-managed super funds. Otherwise, ASIC is going to come and look at you. The ATO is going to start saying, oh, did you recommend? What words did you use? And this is what it all comes down to. Do you recommend? Do you say, do you force these products or push these products forward? And the answer to that is, depending on what hat you've got on at the time at FFS, I think, the answer is obviously not. There are certain things accountants can say, and there are certain things they can't. Same for financial advisors, I believe. And I believe that all those rules have been followed very strictly. So if you think you can trust an Australian government that has signed an agreement with a corrupt American government about your super going to America and being used for great things that will benefit you in the future, then I'm thinking there could be a whole other story we could tell you, and there may be a bridge in Sydney involved that you could end up owning. Just saying. Also, some interesting things coming to light in New Zealand. More than 300,000 New Zealand teens were given COVID boosters despite risk advice. Unfortunately, that risk advice wasn't given to the 300,000 teenagers. It was given to New Zealand's Public Health Department. They were advised in no uncertain terms that the risk was significant to teens for these boosters. But they went ahead and did it anyway, as they have done in so many other places around the world recently. It's amazing. And in New Zealand, they are still actively pushing the COVID jab. And I'm sure there are places here that are still doing it. I haven't had one at the moment that is, I haven't seen one recently with a sign out the front saying, come and get your jab here. But I do keep an eye out when I go past chemists. Yes, Ab, it's been around 91.68, 91.70, went up to 93, I think yesterday, silver, and last night, and dropped back again this morning. It's hovering around there, which is a lot better than the $80 it was a couple of weeks ago. So it is on the way back up. And yes, folks, if you can want to avail yourself, ainslieybullion.com.au are the only people that are going to give you a discount to buy silver or gold or platinum, if that's what you feel, if you use my name or mention Voice of Freedom. It won't be a huge discount. You're not going to go and buy yourself a house on the discount, but there's nobody else who's giving you a discount on gold and silver or other precious metals at the moment, and every little bit helps, doesn't it? So buying the dip is the plan. The dip was a couple of weeks ago, but don't worry, it's still got a long way to go up, and it will. It wants to be, trust me, silver wants to be at $150 an ounce. Please God, it comes back to that range in the not too distant future. We are running early tonight. Did I have one more video I was going to show? Oh, yes. I knew there was something I hadn't shown you yet. I don't know about you, but electrocuting the President of the United States of America while he's going to sleep in the chair during a live sort of meeting is probably genius.
Last year and a half and more of the presidency. At the NIH, we have the Autism Data Science Initiative, which started almost a year, actually more than a year ago, where we funded a dozen and more major research teams to answer the question of what is the cause of autism. It's a complicated biological phenomenon. It's not going to be a simple answer. It will have, as the Secretary said, potentially genetic predisposition, but that cannot possibly explain why we've seen such a large rise in autism.
10, 9, 8, 7. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Well, if you thought that was weird, could that girl have been a cyborg, do you think?
They want the vaccines given to their kids. I mean, I believe fundamentally that many vaccines are important. Like said, measles, for instance, the measles vaccine is important if we want to take control of the measles outbreak. But at the same time, we shouldn't be keeping kids out of school because they have made different decisions than other parents. Our European colleagues don't do that. A lot of the collapse in trust in public health has come because of these mandates that we've seen imposed during the Biden administration on the COVID vaccine and so many other things. What this does is it restores.
I don't know about Cyborg, but she certainly looks a little weird, cross-eyed and all, Joanne, yeah. There's some weird shit going on in the White House at the moment. Nodding isn't normal, only a robot does that. I would agree, especially at that rate. Watch the eyes as well. Do you want to see it again? I'll play it again. Watch her eyes.
How they want the vaccines given to their kids. I mean, I believe fundamentally that many vaccines are important. Like said, measles, for instance, the measles vaccine is important if we want to take control of the measles outbreak. But at the same time, we shouldn't be keeping kids out of school because they have made different decisions than other parents. Our European colleagues don't do that. A lot of the collapse in trust in public health has come because of these mandates that we've seen imposed during the
Anyway, you get the idea. So, curiouser and curiouser in the world. Got to say. I don't know where I stand on that one, but trying to look interested, Gomez, you're right. But why have her there? Who was she there for? Is she there as a Trump aide? She seems to be keeping a very close eye on him. And whoever the guy is from the NIH that's standing beside her trying to give Trump this report is, speaking to a bloke who's comatose. Now, Trump is famous for not sleeping much. He says he sleeps 3 or 4 hours a night. My guess is he's having a few microsleeps throughout the day as well. And as somebody suggested in the chat, maybe they're feeding him Joe Biden's drugs. I guess anything is possible that way, hey. And before we shoot off tonight, I want to make you aware of something that's coming up. Vince should know the difference. He's a Trekkie. Yeah, true that. Speaking of Vince, something that's coming up at my place, Manham. This is the Earth, Climate and Evidence Chat. It's an afternoon with Professor Ian Plimmer, and it's on September the 13th. It's a Sunday in Manham, usually held at the Showgrounds, the community club. The community club River Bar. So not this time at the Showgrounds, going to be at the pub. 13th of September. And if you have an interest in learning a little bit of the truth about the Earth, the climate, and the evidence to support the bullshit that's being spoken about it all, then I highly commend the good professor to you. Vince and I were lucky enough to catch up with him in Mount Gambier. He came down and did a speech there when we were down there, I think a bit over 12 months ago. So well worthwhile. Lovely gentleman, really, really lovely gentleman. I think I said I was going to have him on the show and never have actually managed it. So we might have to arrange that as well. FBN is looking for your help, folks. Vince is desperate to be able to show things, not just himself, but show many things on FBN, on the Facebook page. But he needs 100 followers before he can do a live stream on there. So if you would be so kind, and if you are part of the Facebook crowd, then please head over to Facebook and check out that link there, or just type in FBN Media at online in the Facebook search bar, and you should probably come up with it. Look for the FBN logo, which you can see there on the screen, and you'll know you've found the right place. If you would join that, Vince would be beholden to you. I think we only need about 12 or 15 of you. So more the merrier, though, so don't feel limited. Keep pressing the button, join it, and hopefully we'll have some big news to share with you on the channel, about that channel shortly. 92 at the moment. There you go. So we only need another 8 people to get him over the line, and FBN will be able to go live streaming there too. You've got a Dell 15G laptop. Oh, not for me. That was something for Vince. Might be a question on how to get it working again. All right, folks, going to love you and leave you tonight. Have yourself a bloody good sort of a day tomorrow. If you are on the roads, always be safe. And remember, right now, there is more anger, more confusion, and more numpties walking around us, disbelieving anything we have to say than ever before. Don't let them get you down. Don't let them get you down. Don't let these trolls get to you. They're not worth anything. And when you do a little deep diving on them, you find out that, you know, some of them are really quite wealthy. Some of them actually do have talent. Some of them could do something for the movement other than bitch and moan about it. And yet they choose to be the negative in everything. Don't let these people get you down, folks. It's sad that they're not smart enough to figure out the life, the universe, and everything else, the answer to which is 42. But it does illustrate that, sadly for us, in this time, some of those dickheads have moved off the road and have transplanted themselves into the internet world, where they're able to show what sort of dickheads they are on an exponential basis to the globe. And that's not such a bad thing, because we're going to help them become stars. See you soon.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?